Then you see a pack of Hells Angels going by, people are going to want to look. Next thing you know, cars, because they're just staring at us and not paying attention to stop traffic.
If you wanted to break the law on an everyday norm, you should have joined a street gang. That's what they're known for. That's what they do. You're not allowed to steal cars on my block. We steal those cars.
I mean, it was so bad by us in Vegas. I was in the pool swimming, and the guys came back, "Hey, Pee-wee, the cops are here. They want to talk to you." I said, "Well, go talk to them. Find out what they want." And they came back, they go, "They want to talk to you."
Typically, if you leave the club, if you haven't been in for 10 years, you're automatically out back.
Got put out in 2006, back in 2007, wound up going into Cannon 2011. Came out of there, I had 4.5 years to walk off with zero support from that club.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today we're going to talk about the Iron Range Hells Angels and the trouble that they're in. And we're going to talk about Twin Peaks out there in Texas. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell your mother's, brother's, sister's friend about Chatting with Stacks. Help me get some more subscribers. We're getting a flow of subscribers every day, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. So today, we are going to be covering the president of the Hells Angels in Minnesota, the Iron Range, and that guy on the right is a prospect. Altogether, 4 people were charged with this crime. I'm not sure if the other 2 are still getting prosecuted, but these 2 definitely are. A judge has ruled that their case will move forward, and we're going to get into all of it, how their lawyer put in a motion to have the case dismissed because they thought that it's a big conspiracy. That we'll get into it. So let's get into the first case. So the Iron Range Motorcycle Club. This is the first article that came out when this first happened. It says Iron Range Hells Angel president charged in 11th Eveleth, I think that's how you say it, Eveleth, alleged kidnapping and assault. A man described as the head of the Hells Angels on the Iron Range was charged in an alleged kidnapping and assault case. He is charged with 2 felonies, including kidnapping, false imprisonment. He's also charged with the R word. The criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court says the man, Jerand Paul French. The complainant says French, 38, is the president of the Iron Range Charter. French is the second man charged in the alleged beating and kidnapping of a Eveleth man last month, it says. The complainant says French and 3 others, including 2 Hells Angel prospects, punched and kicked the man who was taken to the Hells Angels Clubhouse. The complainant says French continued punching and kicking the man repeatedly. The complainant said French told the victim he must stay in the building for a few months. The victim, later seen using crutches, escaped the next day and went to police headquarters. The complainant said French had told the man to stop associating with a woman, but that the victim had refused the request. And the woman is the whole reason behind this. In a related matter, Tuesday, another Eveleth man, Paul DeBlake, is charged with assault of that same woman at the place where the man was originally beaten. A third suspect was arrested and taken into custody, has not yet been charged. Now, why are we going over this old case? It's because the judge ruled on this case the other day. Now, it says Hells Angel case will move forward. Virginia, Minnesota. This is May 11th. Shout out to Biker Trash Network. A judge declined to dismiss the R and kidnapping charges against 2 Iron Range chapter members of the motorcycle club. Judge Robert Friday said that there is no breach in attorney-client privilege because they put in a motion saying that there was a breach in attorney-client privileges. I guess they had a meeting and it was recorded in the prison or something like that, they were saying. And the judge, where's Nancy? He's here. I'll go get her in a minute. I'll bring her in for you guys to see her. So it says there was no breach of contract. And as one of the defendants, Paul DeBleek, failed to use proper channels to communicate with his attorney from the St. Louis County Jail, where there's no evidence that the messages reviewed by investigators contained legal advice. Additionally, the judge said defense attorney failed to prove that their assertion that the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension agents intimidated witnesses into cooperating with the investigation. The court finds that there is no deliberate intrusion on the privileged attorney-client communication. Friday wrote in a 21-page order, assuming that there is or was an intrusion. The court will still deny defendant's motion to dismiss because defendant's Sixth Amendment right to counsel was not violated. The ruling in this case for DeBleek and Eric Anthony Newman came 5 months after continuous evidentiary hearings in which attorney asserted that agents eavesdropped on private communications with 3 witnesses, claimed that were threatened by the prosecution that if they did not comply with the orders. The cases stem from an alleged woman was assaulted and a man was abducted and beaten at the Hells Angels downtown Eveleth clubhouse. Authorities reported that the man escaped from the group on crutches on November 28, 2003, and ran to the safety of police, expressing fear that the members could find him. Investigators said they went on to learn that both the victims were visiting an Eveleth residence on November 27th when the club members arrived. It was reported that the woman was R-worded by DeBleek and Newman. The man, meanwhile, was allegedly taken to the clubhouse in a van driven by Jake Navak. I can't even say that last name. He said continued to be beaten by the chapter president, Jerand French, and other members recorded a video of it. Authorities have released few details about the alleged motive or the relationship between the parties, other than they say that French was allegedly upset about the man's association with the woman. And that's French there on the left. So he is an alleged MMA fighter. And he fights quite a bit. Or well, he did. This was back in 2003, around the time that he got arrested. So this is a pretty crazy situation. And there's 4 people in that case. I'm not sure if the charges on the other people are going to stick, but for this guy, the one on the right and the guy in the yellow shirt, yes, they are going to trial. Hey, Easy Champion, what's up? How are you? Spider Club Life, what's good? Richard, how are you? Opie, what's going on? Opie gone bad. We got a lot to talk about today. So it has been on the 17th of May. Will be 10 years since the Twin Peaks shooting over in Texas. And we're going to talk about a restaurant that is opening its doors on the site of the shooting. If you guys don't know what that was, this many people were arrested in the situation. So many they can't even fit them on one page. Crazy. Shout out to Say Cheese for the picture. So this was the site of Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is a restaurant. And there was a situation where motorcycle clubs got into it. So it's going to be 10 years ago. Shootout in Waco, Twin Peaks leaves 9 dead and 18 wounded. Waco, Texas, 9 people died and 18 others wounded after a shootout erupted between rival motorcycle groups at Twin Peaks restaurant in Waco. It'll be 10 years, May 7th, 2015. The shootout was the deadliest and most high-profile event in Waco area since the botched federal siege on the Branch Davidian compound in 1993. The bikers said the agenda at the regional meeting at the Texas Federation of Clubs and Independents, a statewide biker group coalition based in Tyler, involved in political issues regarding the rights of motorcyclists. But trouble was brewing between the Banditos and the Cossacks. You guys know this is the situation where they branched off, the Cossacks, and they started their own chapter. Shout out to all the 1% Cossacks. They call the other club the Ugly Men Cossacks, and they call the other club the 1% Cossacks. Here are their cuts. Those are their cuts on the right, what they look like. Shout out to Hatchet, great dude. So 18 Waco police officers and 4 state troopers were there monitoring the event from outside when the altercation began. 2 rivals led to a fight in which opened gunfire. When the gunfire ended, 9 bikers were dead, most of them killed by police, and 18 others were injured. What? So they were killed by the police. Maybe that's why they ended up dropping all the charges against these people. All these charges were dropped. I mean, maybe there were some of them that were eventually prosecuted, but most of the charges against these people were dropped. No law enforcement or civilians were injured as a result of the gunfire. Damn, did you guys hear that? That's crazy. I did not know that. It says 18 Waco police officers and 4 state troopers were there monitoring the event from outside when the altercation began. When the gunfire ended, 9 bikers were dead. Most of them were killed by police, and 18 others were injured. In the end of the event led to a 5-year-long prosecutorial that ultimately resulted in not a single conviction, in spite of the fact that there were 177 bikers arrested at the scene, and 15 others were later charged as well. The conflict began a little bit after noon when Waco Police Sergeant Patrick Swanson said the initial reports would suggest that the conflict began over a parking spot where someone had their foot run over. Swanson would say at the time that the brawl escalated from there. Then at precisely 12:24 p.m., gunfire erupted. Lunchtime patrons crowded into Twin Peaks, and other nearby restaurants began looking for cover. People were scurrying across the parking lot, hiding behind cars, running as fast as they could to avoid the gunfire. Police later would say it was amazing, miraculous that no one was hurt. Police snipers armed with long weapons identified those bikers who were shooting and targeted them, which brought the gunfire to an abrupt end. Then officers, assisted by dozens of others who would respond when the gunfire was broadcasted, began rounding up people and holding them, each under arrest. There were so many that, so here's the name of the people who passed away that day. If I get any of the names wrong, I apologize. At the end, after the smoke was cleared, Daniel Raymond Diesel, 44, a Cossack, was dead. Wayne Sidetrack Campbell, 43, a Cossack, was dead. Richard Matthew Chain Jordan, 31, Cossack. Richard Vincent Bear, they called him, 47, Cossack, was dead. Jacob Lee Ryan, 39, Cossack, was dead. Damn, did they not get any of the banditos? Jesus Rodriguez, 65, who was not affiliated with a group, was dead. So they just said, didn't they just say in this article that there was no civilians killed? So clearly the guy they just named wasn't affiliated with a group. So that's a lie. Why would they blatantly lie like that? Charles Wayne, they called him Dog. 46 was a Cossack. Manuel Isaac Rodriguez, 40, was a Bandito. And Matthew Mark Smith, 27, was a Centimere. I never heard of that. According to his family, Jacob Rhine, a father of two from Ranger, had joined the Cossacks 6 months prior and didn't own a gun. That's weird because I think this one was a huge cover-up because the police are the ones that killed all these people. And they end up dropping all the charges on everyone. So something ain't mad enough. The math ain't mathing on this one. No wonder they no, it's raining there, Larry. What's going on, Larry? Easy Champion, how are you? Calvin, what's good? No one talks, everybody walks. Free Rain Man, Chris says. What's up, Chris? How are you? Naomi, how are you? Thank you guys all for joining me today. Yes, the math ain't mathing. There's this many people arrested and no one's convicted, right? All those people were killed. What they said, 18 people? They were all killed by the police. And they said no civilians were hurt or killed. But clearly, there were civilians killed. So, it says, Jesus Rodriguez, the son of a Vietnam War veteran, father of 7, was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he did not carry a weapon. Rodriguez received a Navy Commendation Medal for his service in Vietnam and a Purple Heart for wounds sustained in it. Daniel Boyd, the only Waco resident to die, owned and ran a trucking company with his third wife. Well, he was killed by the police. They should be have a class action lawsuit against the police department, because that's crazy. Especially if he didn't have a weapon and the police killed him. That doesn't make sense. All right, Richard Baer was a sergeant at arms for the chapter of the Cossacks, tasked with maintaining order during club activities and defending members from outside threats. He was married when he passed away. Wayne Campbell was a road captain for the Cossacks, responsible for organizing bike runs and ensuring safety of those on them when he passed away. Matthew Smith was in the Cossacks. Let me see. Let me look this up real quick. Hold on 1 second. Oh, so this is kind of like, it must be like a puppet club for the Cossacks or something. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll show you guys a picture. Scimitars. So I guess this dude was a part of this club. And I guess they're kind of a part of the Cossacks, I guess. Scimitars. So, all right, Manuel Rodriguez was a married bandito nicknamed Bandito Candyman. Soon buses were commandeered to transport those detained to the Waco Convention Center, where police began to figure out who needed to be charged and with what. It's insane. Look how many people there were. Enter then the district attorney, who took charge of the scene. Well, they didn't do a great job, and instructed that each of the 177 would be charged with engaging in organized criminal activity. And he arranged for Justice of the Peace, Pete Davidson, to set a $1 million bond each for each defendant. Peterson at the time said it sent a strong message. We had 9 people killed in our community. These people just came in. No, you had the police kill 9 people in your community. They are twisting this like it was a biker shootout and these people killed each other when the police killed them. I mean, they openly admitted it in this article. So all that shit they're talking, I ain't buying it. The police killed them people. So they should have a class action lawsuit against the police department. It started a media storm that continued for months as those defendants began hiring lawyers who began filing motions for bond reductions and other legal documents that brought justice to a halt in the county while those issues were resolved. Finally, in November 2017, Christopher Jake Krasel went to trial, the first of those arrested that day to do so. And just a few days later, the judge in the case declared a mistrial in that case after jurors said that they were hopelessly deadlocked and would not render a verdict. Jurors deliberated for 14 hours before returning with their decision against Krasel, who was then the president of the Banditos Dallas chapter. Barry Johnson replaced Renna as a DA in 2019 and immediately began looking into the Twin Peaks cases that remained. Then, as of April 2nd, 2019, all of the remaining criminal cases were dismissed. I know why they were dismissed. They were dismissed because the police killed them people. It's crazy. But the issue in court is far from over because more than 130 federal civil rights lawsuits were filed by arresting bikers are pending against the former DA and the former police chief, the city of Waco, McLean County, and the local state officers involved in the mass arrest. Oh, shit. So they did file a class action lawsuit. According to 6 witnesses interviewed by the Associated Press, 3 of whom were military veterans, the shootout began with a small number of pistol shots and then was dominated by semi-automatic fire. Only one semi-automatic rifle was confiscated from a biker, which was locked in a car. It wasn't even being fired at the time. Police were the only ones that had semi-automatic weapons. 2.5 weeks after the shootout, more than 140 of those arrested were still held and unable to post the $1 million bonds. Law school professor and civil rights lawyer David Carey's criticized the attitude of the police as, let's arrest them all and sort it out later. According to Craze, such arrests may be a chilling effect of freedom of association and freedom of speech. On September 14, 2016, 3 Waco police officers were cleared of any wrongdoing in the shootout by a grand jury. Of course they were. Of course they were. A McLean County grand jury reviewed the cases and chose not to charge Waco officers Andy O'Neill, Michael Bircher, and Heath Jackson. The rivalry between the Banditos and the Cossacks dates back to the 1960s when the clubs were established. The two groups have had a number of run-ins over the past 2 years. The Banditos are the biggest motorcycle club in Texas, and their dominance allows them to enforce rules on other biker organizations. But I don't know. I think they're getting a lot of pushback as of recently, especially with the Beast Motorcycle Club and different clubs. Izzy, what's going on? How are you? Maureen, what's good? Thank you guys for joining me. Taco, how are you? I wonder what Spider's Club Life say on this matter. Oh, on the Hells Angels situation? Yeah, the president of the Iron Range Motorcycle Club is charged with big R word and kidnapping. He will go to trial. There were 4 people charged in the crime, but the guy on the right and the guy in the yellow shirt will go to trial. And they're trying to say that the prosecutor is setting them up. And allegedly, the guy on the right is Chuck Zito's guy. Because Chuck, if you guys don't know, Chuck Zito is out bad. No contact. He's not to have any contact with any Hells Angels. There was a mass email put out. He is no good. And I think if members get caught talking to Chuck, they'll probably get booted too. They are not playing games. That's Truck's buddy, you said? Oh, the guy that passed away up there in Canada, right? That's Truck. So the reason we're talking about the Waco thing is because a new restaurant is going to be opening at the same site of the shooting, if you guys didn't know. And that's crazy. A new restaurant set to open at the site of former Twin Peaks. infamous Waco shootout. 10 years ago, gunshots erupted between rival motorcycle clubs and law enforcement. A Mexican Cajun seafood restaurant is opening at the site of former Twin Peaks restaurant in Waco. Not just any Twin Peaks. The particular address happened to be the scene of one of the bloodiest shootouts in recent memory. Tia Wanja's Fish Camp would be opening at Jack Calden Express Way. Chris Caney, a former manager at George's, told the news he's renovating the fashion restaurant. Once complete, Candy told the station it would show off an electric spirit of Texas, Louisiana, and Mexico. But it didn't look like Tia's Wancha's authentic will brush off what happened in 2015. Years ago, the former space was site of a shootout with motorcycle clubs, Waco Police Department, and Texas State Troopers. On May 17th, a fight broke out between banditos and Cossacks. Gunshots rang out, and nearby law enforcement officers also got involved. Of course they did. They're the ones that killed everybody. When the shooting finally stopped, 9 people were dead. 18 others wounded. Over 100 people were arrested in the incident, and no one was actually convicted. Twin Peaks, for its part, cut ties with the franchise operator, accusing them of ignoring warnings from both the police and the company regarding motorcycle clubs who frequented the restaurant. It's pretty crazy. Check this out.
Is charged for his alleged involvement in an Eveleth kidnapping and assault that police say involves several Hells Angels members. 48-year-old Eric Newman of Gilman, Wisconsin, is charged with multiple felonies, including first-degree criminal sexual conduct and fifth-degree assault. You'll remember a man and woman were beaten, sexually assaulted, and then held against their will in Eveleth in late November. They eventually escaped and notified police. Then authorities arrested 2 men at the Hells Angels Clubhouse in mid-December. Another man turned himself in a couple days later. Newman is the latest arrest in this case. The Minnesota BCA continues to investigate.
My bad. I had to grab Nancy. This is Nancy, guys. This is the mascot for Chatting with Stacks. Oh, Nancy. Nancy's been good. She's chilling. Cannot talk to anybody that's out bad. Calvin said Hells Angels eat their own. Yeah, Nancy's awesome. Nancy's a great dog. She's been really good. She's enjoying life, aren't you? How old is she? 9 weeks. 9 weeks. I got her first shots, so she's doing good. She bites kind of hard sometimes, though. That's the only thing I don't like. Stop it. No biting. But there's a lot more content on the way. I appreciate all you guys. If you guys want to donate to the show, you can hit up the Cash App at Chatting with Stacks. You can hit up PayPal, Venmo, all that good stuff. I appreciate every single person that watches this show. If you want to be a guest on the show and tell your story, hit up my email, BillStacks2021, and let me know. If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, you already know what to do. Start your own podcast. I appreciate all you guys. And remember, don't be a bitch.
And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged. And investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.